Hello guys, how are you? I hope you're doing great. We have never experienced such a crazy situation as this one we're going through now, but we have to hang in there because things will be over and then we will be able to resume our normal lives, hopefully, okay? So I'm here today because I'm going to demonstrate some of the things that I'd like you to do for our next meeting next week when we're going to have our first synchronous online class. So I'm going to present some materials here and give you, a small amount of homework, something for you to do in preparation for our class next week. So I have a PowerPoint presentation, just 3 slides, it's fast. And then I'm going to show you some examples from the book. And then there's also a short YouTube video, which I encourage you to watch, but that is optional. You don't have to watch it if you don't have the time or if you're too tired, but it's fun. I think you should watch it, because it's extra information about narrative tenses. This is the subject we're going to study. So by narrative tenses, I'm talking about past simple, past continuous, past perfect simple, and past perfect continuous, okay? So I'm going to review them very quickly with you because except for the past perfect continuous, which is a little different from all the rest, I think you're kind of used to using these other verb tenses. All right, so I'm going to share my screen with you here now, and we're going to watch, I'm going to explain or explain, because you've seen that before, some of the uses of these verb tenses. All right, so let me share my screen with you. I'll be back with you later on. Just a second. All right, I think we're ready. Here we go, narrative tenses. Let me just move my window a little bit here. Okay, so the differences between the past simple and the past continuous, I think you all remember that very well. What did you do at school? I took a maths test. And then why didn't you answer my text? I was taking a maths test. So we're comparing the difference between I took and I was taking. I took, which is past simple, refers to complete facts at a specific point in the past. Whereas the past continuous refers to an activity in progress, all right? Then the question, depending on the kind of information you want to get, you have to make a choice between the past simple and the past continuous, because each one refers to a different time. Look at this example here. When I rang, Lena was sleeping. She woke up and picked up the phone. So what was she doing when I rang? There was something in progress. She was sleeping. And look, what did she do when I rang? She picked up the phone. So this is an activity that was in progress, and this is something that happened just once, okay? No problem, very easy. Let's move on. Now the past perfect. All right, the word perfect means before. So the past perfect is used to look back at a time in the past and refer to an action that happened before then. Let's see some examples. Okay, so here we have a timeline, 6 o'clock, 6:20, 6:25, 6:30, and we have some different actions, or this one here in progress, and these 3 are complete actions. So let's see what we can say. When the bus came at 6:20, right, we had been waiting since 6 p.m. because we started waiting here at 6 p.m. and we waited all this time, 20 minutes, until the bus came. So we had been waiting since 6 p.m. So this is the past perfect continuous. It describes the duration, okay, this is important, how long the activity had been in progress in the past, okay? Another example here, the continuous refers to longer actions or repeated activities. Toby arrived at 6:30, but the bus had already left, so it left before. That's why it's called past perfect, okay? First the bus left and then Toby arrived. So when Toby arrived, the bus had already left. So the simple refers to shorter, complete facts. This is the last slide. Now the contrast between past perfect and past simple. As you know, the past simple when you tell a story using only the past simple, you tell the story in a chronological order. Activity number 1 and then number 2, number 3, like broke, stolen, arrived, found, etc. But this is very boring. Let's read the story. On Tuesday evening, a burglar broke into my aunt's shop and stole all the jewelry. In the morning, I arrived at work and found the door open. I rang the police. I answered their questions for a long time. Then my aunt arrived and interrupted us. Okay, the story is okay. We're telling a story, but if you write a story like this, it's too simple and it's boring. So the objective of this is to use different narrative tenses to tell the activities or actions in different order. Look, by using the past perfect and the past perfect simple or continuous. When I arrived at work, I saw that a burglar had broken in and had stolen all the jewelry. So first the burglar broke in, then stole the jewelry, and then I arrived. So we put the past perfect here to say that these actions happened before this. Look at another example. I had already rung the police by the time my aunt arrived. So what happened first? First, I rang the police and then my aunt arrived. So I put past perfect here in order to say or to mean that this activity here of ringing the police happened before. All right, so this is it. This is the last, oh, there is one more. I had been answering questions for a long time when she interrupted us. Look at the use of the past perfect continuous here, okay? I had been answering questions for a long time when she interrupted us. Again, the past perfect continuous is used to describe an action in progress, especially when you mention the duration of this activity for a long time, in that previous example, since 6 o'clock p.m., etc. So this had been going on. I had been answering questions for a long time when she interrupted us. Okay, so that's the last slide. I'm going to close this, and then we're going to see some examples from your book. All right, let me close this. Okay, so I'm going to share another screen with you. It's the one from the book, okay? Just a second. Here we go. All right. Okay, so this is page 23, as you can see here, all right? And let's just analyze some of these examples here. I read a book on the plane. I was reading a book on the plane. Which one implies that you started and finished the book on the plane? The first one, right? I read a book on the plane. I was reading a book doesn't make it clear whether you finished or not. So it's just to say that during some time, we don't know when, how long, the activity of reading a book was going on. Now, the second example, we have the same beginning with a past simple. When the first guests arrived, I opened the champagne, or I was opening the champagne, or I had opened the champagne. Each one means different thing. I'm sure you know that, and it's quite easy. The first one, when the first guests arrived, I opened the champagne. This means that I was waiting for them to arrive and then for me to open the champagne, right? This happened first and then this happened, chronological order. First they arrived, then I opened the champagne. When the first guests arrived, I was opening the champagne. That means I started opening the champagne a bit before the guests arrived. So when they arrived, the action was in progress. I was doing the opening the champagne, okay? I was performing the action of, or the activity of opening the champagne. And in the last case, when the first guests arrived, I had opened the champagne. This means that first, I opened the champagne. I poured the champagne into these glasses here. And when they arrived, I served the champagne because I had already opened it before they arrived. It's very clear, isn't it? In this other example here, the film started when we got to the cinema, and the film had started when we got to the cinema. Which one means that you missed the beginning of the film, that you were late, a little late? The second one, right? The film had started when we got to the cinema means that the film started before you arrived. So you missed the beginning. And here, you arrived at the cinema, you got to the cinema, and then the film started. So first this happened, and then this happened, and you didn't miss anything. Number 4, he was sacked. Sacked means fired. You know, when your boss doesn't want you to work for him or her anymore. So he was sacked because he had stolen some money. And he was sacked because he had been stealing money for years. Which one means that he stole money once only? He had stolen some money, right? That means that he stole some money, they found out, and so he was fired. But in the second one, he had been stealing money for years. That means that the action of stealing money happened many times when he was finally caught and sacked, okay? I could also say he was sacked because he was stealing money. And I have to stop there. I cannot say for years, because remember, this is one of the main differences between past continuous and past perfect continuous. If I want to mention how long the activity had been happening, I have to use past perfect continuous. But I could just say he was sacked because he was stealing money. That's it. Finally, when I got to the garage, my car was being repaired. Or when I got to the garage, my car had been repaired. Which one means that your car was ready for you to drive? The first or the second? The second, right? Because this is passive voice and past perfect passive. So this means that this repairing the car happened first, and then you got to the garage. And in this one here, it means that fixing the car or repairing the car, the activity of doing that was still in progress. So you had to go back another time. All right. So this is it. I'm going to finish here. Let me stop the. Okay, so this is it for this first mini lesson. Now I'm going to now follow the other things that you have to do. You can watch this again if you have doubts, or you can send me messages on Edmodo or in the WhatsApp group asking for more clarification. Okay, I'll see you later.